All right, so let's go ahead and keep on going with the onboarding view model. So next up, we want to handle the last step. Basically, this is a computer property. Last step is last step. So let's go ahead and create that. Is last step. It's going to be a Boolean property. Now, this computer property is going to check if the current index is at or past the last page of onboarding. It's basically a convenient way to control buttons title, or it's actually also used to execute onboarding on complete closure when the last page has reached. Okay, so it has many different use cases. So first of all, we're gonna start by guardletting the current index, because our current index is optional. We want to make sure we can extract some value out of it safely, and we want to return the current index, and we want to say if it is greater than equal to steps.count -1. So any of these. So if the current index is equal to the step count -1, or if it's greater than step count -1, then we want to return this as true. Otherwise, we want to return this as false. And this is going to help us determine when our view reaches the last step. Okay. After this, we're going to create another computer property called current step. Okay. Current step. There we go. Okay, and this is going to return the step, basically the onboarding step type. All right, now the current step is basically another computer property, and this computer property safely returns the currently visible onboarding step. Okay, and we are going to use something that is actually an extension to an array, but let me show you what that is. First, let's go ahead and extract the current index out. Okay, and if we can't, then we want to return steps dot first. So first step, whatever it is, we want to return that. Now, after we have extracted out our current index, what we want to do is we want to safely unwrap or safely extract the index from the array. So we have the current index, and as you know, when you reach out in the array and access it using subscript, so something like this, yeah, steps dot current index. Now this could fail. This could have some implications where your index might not be correct, right? Your index might be outside of its bound, outside what it can actually reach to. So for example, let's say your array had 4 items. Somehow your current index reached to 5. So right now here, what you're trying to do is you're trying to reach 5th element inside steps array. Now that'll fail and it'll crash your app. So for that, in order to handle that properly, we're going to create an extension, and this extension is going to be on the array. Okay, and we're going to create a new subscript. All right, this subscript is going to be called save index, and it will return basically the indices that contains the index, and we're going to call self.index or nil, and it's going to return a nil element. Now, as long as we have this new safe subscript, what we can do is we can directly use this inside our whenever we are trying to access that current step. So instead of just calling current step, we're simply gonna prefix this with safe, and now it is safe to execute. So if the array index goes out of bound, in that case, what's gonna happen is this is gonna be nil. Okay, so it's not gonna be an element, but it's gonna be nil. And then we can use our nil coalescing to fetch the first step and show that one. Okay, so that's how it actually can handle a graceful fallback for the cases where array index has a potential to go out of bound. Okay, all right, so with that, our current step is complete. Now we need to handle how the screen sizes are going to be updated and how our screen size property that we created right here is updated. So for that, we're going to create a function, and we're going to call this function update screen size. There we go. It would expect a size to be passed in, and we are going to simply take our self.screen size and assign the new size to this. Now this is going to be helpful whenever we are changing the orientation or we're launching on a different phone. The screen size information is always available, and your view is resized based on that. Or like, you can control how big your images are going to look like, and your various steps and everything is going to be. So it's good to know, which environment you're running this in. So for that reason, we're going to capture this and maintain it as a property. All right. Next, basically, and where is it going to execute, by the way? This is going to basically be executed on appear inside the view, or it's also gonna be executed or called inside the on change. This is basically to track the dimensions on the view's frame. Okay, now next up is updating our current index. Now this function is gonna safely set the current index to the new page, and it'll basically also ignore any invalid values, which prevents a needless view refresh by checking if the new index is different from current. Okay, so we're gonna just take some precautionary steps to make sure our screen refreshes are at efficient level. Okay, so we're gonna create a function update current index, and it's gonna be passed as an index, and then we're gonna first get the index. We're gonna check if it's greater than equal to 0 and index is less than step.count, otherwise we'll return from here. Okay, so if the index is not equal to the current index, then only we're going to take the current index and update it with the index. Now this ensures that we don't needlessly refresh the screen when the index is updated by the same index. Okay, so basically your user is swiping back, and when they're swiping back, for example, they're swiping back, your view does not refresh because index has changed. Now in this case, index is not changing, but code doesn't know that. We need to actually handle that logic. Index should only change when it's truly changing, progressive, in the forward direction or in the back direction. Okay, so forward and back, and that's when we are going to update the current index. All right. Okay, so we are gonna keep going. We have a few more things to do inside the view model, so let's go ahead and hop on to the next video where we're gonna continue to build this out. Thank you.